I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.
This is XxHowlingxX, and this is my review of Darling in the Franxx. Darling in the Franxx is a show that premiered this season, but before I start the review, I want to say that the show is only halfway through its run. Out of the 24 episodes that are due to premiere, we are doing our review at 12. To me, this is how the show can get better for the remaining 12 episodes. Let's start by praising what's great about the show. The show has a deep premise, excellent animation quality. From the creatures to the characters, everything is animated beautifully, but I expect nothing less from Studio Trigger. However, this isn't my beef with the show. My beef with the show comes in at a couple of instances that don't seem to be a huge deal to the average fan. But for me, they are absolutely deal-breaking. You may be asking, what is it? And the answer is motivation. You may be asking me, well, Howling, why is motivation such a big deal? Well, I'll tell you why it's a big deal. If we know what motivates a character, we know why they do what they do. A primary example of motivation done right is Goku. When Goku does something that doesn't seem to be in character, or seems to be completely outlandish, there's that root that always pulls his character back. Even though that root isn't very deep and it's very simple, it still pulls him back. And his root is he likes to fight strong opponents. So when you see Goku letting others power up to their full potential, you're like, Goku, why don't you stop them? Well, it's because he likes to fight strong characters, and that's clear throughout the show. A character that's motivated differently than Goku is Asta from Black Clover. His motivation is stated, and it's that he wants to become the Wizard King. Everything that Asta does throughout the show is to become the Wizard King. We know what the Wizard King is, it's established in the show, and he's just working his way to it. This gives you the ability to identify with Asta, because he has a goal. And because he has a goal, and we can identify with that goal, it makes him such a relatable character. Now back to Darling in the Franxx. Motivation is where this show falls short for me. Hero is our main character, and our main character has no motivations that I can identify with, and it is made even more apparent when you think about what he wants to do. For example, he wants to be a pilot. Because he was trained from birth to do so, okay, that's simple enough. Where it comes sketchy for me is when he gets kicked out of the academy because he can't pilot, but goes back to pilot for 02. The reason why this question stuck with me is because why'd you go back to pilot with 02? You could have piloted with any of the other people that were in your class, but you could only pilot with 02. What's your motivation for piloting with 02? And because that never was made clear to me, it made me question other aspects of the show. It's hard for me to understand why any of this stuff is happening. And I'll go further in my example with Ichigo. We need to understand that first, the kitchen scene is the first time Ichigo and 02 meet. So my question to Ichigo is, why the hate? It is made clear that you've only heard stories about 02. In all of those stories that you've heard, none of them were someone close to you. So tell me, why do you hate 02 so much? To me, this is a pointless interaction used to try to give more character to a character that lacks motivation. It seems interesting at first that Ichigo would hate Zero Two so quickly, but it also takes away from it when you think about it. At first I'm thinking like, okay, Howling, you're thinking too much about it, back off. Until it happens again between Hiro and Zeromi. It is later revealed that this dislike is because a promise was broken between the two, this time by Hiro. Now that makes sense to me. But if you think about this, at the beginning of the show, Hiro was getting ready to leave the academy. So no matter what, the promise was getting ready to be broken. So why does it matter now that he is backpedaling with Zero Two again that this comes up? Again, it's another pointless interaction meant to pull you attention away from the fact that the characters don't have motivation. I know I'm supposed to be paying attention to the great details, the battles, and the great animation, but this shows up so many times in so many sequences that makes the show not good. My next point is very brief with the show, and it's the show identity. Now, it's not a big deal because a lot of shows do this, where later in the series they find what they're good at or what their motivation is and they stick with it. So here, it was trying to be a comedy for a couple of episodes and trying to be serious for a couple of others. And the comedy bits, not that they didn't work, the comedy bits worked very, very well. The Beach Boys episode, the episodes where the girl hates the boys, or the boys hate the girls, all of it is done beautifully. And I actually laughed a lot in those moments. It's the serious points that threw me for a loop. But because they're so few and far between, it comes off that the show is a comedy until you analyze it a little deeper and realize that it wants to be something more. Like I said, this is not a big deal. It's just something I already wrote, so I decided to leave it in there. My next big point is mystery. Mystery in a show can be good or bad, depending on how you do it. In this instance, mystery is done so poorly that it doesn't give any weight to the show. My biggest example of this is what happens when someone pilots with Zero Two. We get clues from that one guy that goes out and pilots with her and comes back in a state of disarray. All he says is that she tried to eat me. She tried to eat me. Having mystery with a character is supposed to make them intriguing. Here, it leaves me wondering if you thought out the effect that she had on the parasites. The reason for this is when Hiro rides with her, none of the effects that are going on with him are clearly stated or even noted. And what this does is it provides a mystery that not only do we have no clues to solve, but it just makes us coming up with our own conclusions. Now, you can go out on a limb and say her emotions determine how the ride with her goes. Well, I'm going to tell the story to do its job and tell me the story. Because in this case, there's nothing told to us to give us the indication that her emotions has anything to do with how she rides with another person. In this show, mystery is equivalent to a man going out and he loses his cell phone, but his girlfriend is trying to text him all night and she's going through scenarios in her head. After a couple of hours, she's gonna come up with some pretty wild scenarios. He's out cheating. No, he's in trouble. Or worse, he could be cheating in trouble. You know, the R. Kelly scenario. In actuality, the situation is he's at his friend's house playing video games. What I'm trying to say is never let your audience infer what you mean. You're supposed to be telling a story. Tell the story. And that's my beef with Darling in the Franxx. Is it a good show? Is it a bad show? Is it the worst I've ever seen? Nah, I've seen a lot worse. And we're going to get to that on this channel. but I've also seen Studio Trigger do a lot better, and that's why I'm making this video, because I know how good Studio Trigger could be, and the perfect example of that is their last 4 episodes of this very show. The action has been intense, the storytelling has been out of this world, and it's showing me glimpses of the Studio Trigger that I know and I love. So please keep that up. I just got 2 more requests for you, Studio Trigger, and I'm done. 1, can you give Hero some motivation other than getting his dick wet? Please, I know there's a Viagra joke there, but I'm just don't have the strength to make it. And can you please stop with all the sexual innuendos? I get it, they ride each other. It's not that big of a deal. Can you please get rid of that? And if you do, that'll make me a big fan of this show. Again, this is XxHowlingxX from Geek No Bullshit. If you like this review, please consider giving us a like. If you don't like this review, we can argue in the comments. But overall, please subscribe. I know we're a new channel and we're just getting started, but it's okay because we have a lot of content planned coming toward you guys very soon. We do podcasts, we do reviews like these, and we will also be doing gameplay. So please stick with us. Again, this is XxHowlingxX signing out.